Is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand, and today I want to talk to you guys and share some of my thoughts and opinions about the Nintendo Switch 2. Now let's face it, the Switch 2 had an amazing Nintendo Direct just 2 days ago, and a lot of people have been talking about it. Some have been good, some have been bad. Of course, in this video, I plan to cover just some of my thoughts and opinions about a lot of those subjects at hand. Now, of course, I do want to mention right here, I'm not really going to talk about performance and extra features added to the Switch, such as frames per second and the new mouse control. All those are great, they're all cool. But I don't really have too much to say about that at hand. So of course, in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about the lineup of games, prices, what I plan to do moving forward, knowing what I know now about the Nintendo Switch 2, and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's dive right into this video subject and take a look at some of my thoughts and opinions all about the Nintendo Switch 2 right after the intro. Alright, so I'm going to start things off by talking about the lineup of games that is going to be going onto the Nintendo Switch 2. Now let's face it, the launch lineup of games is really impressive. I'm not going to lie, I'm very impressed with what they've got for the launch lineup of games. Nintendo certainly came in pretty strong with their exclusive lineup. I mean, after all, a new Mario Kart game that is open world, I think that is very incredible and amazing. It's been a very long time since there was a new Mario Kart game that was announced, especially one that doesn't have the number 8 in the title. Of course, the new Donkey Kong game looks incredibly fun. I cannot wait to try that one out. Of course, Kirby Air Riders, that is one that really stuck out to me. I never would have imagined that we would get another Kirby Air Ride game again. Kirby Air Ride was easily one of my favorite titles on the Nintendo GameCube. Loved that game so much. So it definitely brings a huge smile to my face seeing that Kirby Air Riders is going to be a game on the Switch 2. Now, of course, the Switch 2 has an amazing lineup of third-party games on it as well. I mean, after all, the original Nintendo Switch had an amazing third-party situation going on for it. So, of course, I think it is only to be expected that things continue along that path with the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, it is pretty cool to see Hogwarts Legacy going on there, Elden Ring, and Sega, of course, continues things along with Sonic X Shadow Generations and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. Now, I gotta say, I'm definitely going to be picking some games up when it comes out for the Nintendo Switch 2, some of which I'm going to hold off, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but I am determined to at least pick up a few titles for the Switch 2 when it comes out. I think it is going to be a very fun console to play on. After all, the original Switch is also another great console to play on now. It is easily one of my favorite current gen consoles, the original Switch, so it only makes sense that I got to continue things along with the Switch 2. But overall, when it comes to the lineup of games, things are looking very, very well in terms of the game selection. Now, of course, I do have some concerns about Nintendo Switch 2 games that I'll be discussing right here. Now, of course, even though the Nintendo Switch 2 has an amazing lineup of games, not everything looks all sunshine and rainbows all about those games. After all, a lot of people have complained about the fact that some of those launch titles are going to be $80, especially the new Mario Kart title. I've also seen as well with some of the game packs for where the games are on the cartridges, they are essentially not the entire game on there, and you need an internet connection or you pop the card in, and that is going to allow you to download the game off of the internet onto your Switch 2, and essentially the game that you buy, retail and physical, just only acts as a license or a key for you to get some of those games. Now, let's talk about that game key first. One thing that I've noticed with that, right, is that with the packaging of some of those games, not every single game I see says that it's going to require an internet connection. Now, of course, that could be entirely wrong, where you're still going to need the game key to pop it in. But of course, with some of those games, they'll probably be online only. We don't really necessarily know yet. But what I can say is, if that ends up being the case, where every single game is going to require you to get an internet connection and pop it in, I can truthfully say that is going to really slow down how many games I decide to buy for the Switch 2 in the long run. Is just because, as you guys can already see already, I'm a physical collector and I want things to be 100% physical. And let's face it, if you buy a game and all it is just a license and you just pop it in and you download the game off the internet, it would be one thing if you're installing the game, you have to wait. I would be all right with that. But if it's just literally just a little thing that you just pop in or whatever, that kind of defeats the purpose of physical collecting, if you ask me. But we'll have to wait and see what goes on with that nature. Now, of course, let's talk about pricing. This is essentially the elephant in the room. Now, in my opinion, the console's price, I have no issues with. I don't have a problem paying $450 for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, with those $80 launch titles, especially with Mario Kart, yeah, I'm going to hold off on that. I'm not going to be buying some of those games brand new at launch, especially games that are going to be $80, even $70. Like me personally, with other consoles that are out right now, such as Series X and PS5, I don't even buy brand new games at launch that are $70. $60 is my cap. I just personally think that once a game goes above $60 brand new, it's got to be like the collector's edition, because I just personally believe that a game doesn't really have anything to offer once it goes past that $70 mark. Of course, the argument could be said about some of those games that I collect that are about $70 or above $70, but basically with new games, $70 is too much for me to spend. Not that I can't afford it, but I just think that there just isn't really enough to offer that a game has for that price. So what I can say about the Nintendo Switch 2 is, yes, I definitely plan to get some games on launch, but games that are going to be above $60, I'm going to hold off on that and just wait a little bit to drop down in price. Will it drop very much? I don't know, especially since we are talking about Nintendo right here. But again, we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens afterwards. So what am I going to do regarding the Switch 2, given the circumstances of everything that I've talked about before? Well, as you guys can already imagine, based on everything that I've discussed earlier in this video, yes, I do plan to get some games for the Switch 2 day one. So of course, that means I'm going to be getting a Switch 2 pre-ordered when pre-orders do come in. Based on everything on what I'm interested in, and after giving a bit of some careful thought, I've decided that yes, I will pre-order a Switch 2 once pre-orders start. Now, over the years, I've kind of flip-flopped with different consoles. With some of them, I do want to get day one and pre-order. Others, I've decided to hold off, just wait for things to sort of settle in, see what I'm getting into. In this case, with the Switch 2, I do plan on pre-ordering it. For me, it just makes the most sense. Now, I am going to be very selective and very choosy with which games I decide to pick up for the console itself. Now, as mentioned before, I'm not going to be buying anything above $60 for any launch titles. So obviously, unless if there are some big changes in terms of pricing, Clearly, I won't be picking up games such as Mario Kart for the Switch 2. However, Street Fighter 6 does look appealing with its price point and given the features and background of the game, it does seem appealing to me. Also, I will be getting Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S to show my support for a series that I believe is relatively underrated, but is thankfully beginning to get more traction right here in the West. So those are a few games that I plan to pick up. Of course, I will be looking through some more games as they are launched during launch just to see, hey, maybe I'll change my mind on a few others. But basically, the short gist of it, that yes, I will be getting a Switch 2 pre-ordered with a couple games, with me being selective at which prices I am planning to pay for and which ones I will be picking up. But of course, for me, that's just what makes the most sense for me. So that's what I'm going to do with the Switch 2. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.